This episode opens with Toby going to a party. Oh, that's nice. I guess nothing really bad could be happening here. Oh my god! Ah! 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 Okay. He's only there with a single frame. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Anyway, it turns out that Toby can't participate in the parade simply due to the fact that they don't have any room for him. That's fun. It's like that moment where you and your friends all want to go to the function and you can't go. You can't go at all because there's just no room in the car. And, you can't drive, so you're just kind of shit out of luck, man. You're just the only one. Even though there's definitely room if you just clear some space, Kevin! So Percy meets Toby at a station, and Percy wants to know why Toby's feeling so gloom. But then Sir Topham Hatt comes and asks Percy to go by the harbor, leaving his trucks right there. Percy goes to the harbor, and the trucks there are being fucking assholes. And so, Percy reacts to this as any sane person would. Takes all the trucks at the harbor and throws them overboard and lands into this ship. And somehow, the ship is the one at fault for all of this, even though it was definitely Percy's fault. And so, what do? They take this little boat and they just strip him on the land. He can never go in the water again. He's just there for the rest of his life. What the fuck? How does this have anything to do with the Toby stuff? And the next episode opens with Bulgy just sitting there, still a henhouse over a season later. What the hell is wrong with this show? This episode mainly follows this mail truck that doesn't have a face. What is going on? Later that night, Thomas and Percy thank the postman for all of his hard work, while the postman gives all of the credit to his van, even though he's the one who controls the van, and, as I mentioned earlier, the van doesn't have a face. The next morning, Percy and his driver notices that Postman Tom and his van are nowhere to be found, with the new postman only delivering all that mail on a bicycle. The next morning, Tom is back, but with some sad news. Apparently, his supervisor thinks that the van was too expensive, so he got rid of it, which means that the postman can't help Thomas and Percy with the mail run anymore. However, Tom then gets a call that he needs to meet with Sir Topham Hatt, and so he enters Percy in order to get there on time, but not knowing that he left the bike on Percy's mail coach, and as Percy leaves the station, the bike falls and Percy runs right over it, destroying it. But it turns out absolutely none of that matters because the next day, Tom gets his car back! Yay! This is how the season ends. Wow. That was anticlimactic. Usually we end things on a big Christmas special, but this time we just didn't. What a lame way to end the season. Well, anyway, it's still the end of the season, and you know what that means. Good afternoon and welcome, students, to the train count for Season 4. Now, I hope that you are all taking very extensive notes for today's lecture. For those of you that are new here, basically every time we finish a season of the show, but before we get into our final season analysis, I like to do something a little bit fun and just count all the engines that we've seen so far, because by God, there are a lot of trains in this show. Now, it had admittedly been a while since we last did this. We haven't done this since 2023, where we finished off Season 3. So in case you don't remember, we ended off Season 3 with a grand total of 19 engines. Oh God, that's awful. We ended Season 3 with a grand total of 19 engines on the island of Sodom. Now, admittedly, 19 is not a lot of trains, but don't worry, this season more than made up for that pitiful number. And that is especially especially present in Season 4, Episode 1, where we are introduced to the narrow gauge engines, where we get to meet Duke, Peter Sam, Sir Handel, and Smudger, who is never seen again, which means that we can go ahead and add those 4 engines to the count. Like already in the first episode, we got 4 new trains. And in another episode, I forget which one it was, I watched this over a year ago, we're introduced to Rheneas and Skarloey, which brings the grand total to 6 engines already. Holy shit. Then in the episode Rusty helps Peter Sam, we are introduced to Peter Sam. No, we're fucking not, because we already met him at the top of the season. We are introduced to Rusty. I have weird connections to this character. Very, very weird connections, which I cannot get into for legal reasons. Okay. Regardless, Rusty is the 7th engine that we have met on the island of Sodor for Season 4. We have, guess what? Yet another new engine to add to the count for the island of Sodor, and he's another narrow gauge engine. And lo and behold, we can bring up the grand total of Scottish engines to 3, because we also met Duncan this season. Duncan was introduced in, I honestly forgot which episode. Put it right here. Future film buff. Put it right there. It's this episode. Yeah, we can put Duncan right there at number 8. Narrow gauge engines. It's quite a lot of them. All right, you think like we got this whole new line. I mean, this is just about as many engines as we've had on the main branch line in the start of the show. And so you'd think that this would be plenty of trains for one season of the show. Fuck that. We also got Stephanie. We got Stephanie that I think was introduced in Thomas and Stephanie's. I think he first showed up in that. I mean, that's what I assume. Editor, if I'm wrong, please correct me. Yeah, put Stephanie as the 9th engine. And finally, the 10th and final brand new engine that we met on the island of Sodor during Thomas and Friends Season 4 was Class 40. You guys remember Class 40, right? The diesel? The diesel engine. You know, he's a diesel. He was never seen again. That brings the grand total of engines on the island of Sodor to 29 in the grand scheme of the show. That's disappointing, because I wanted that number to get into the 30s. I was genuinely expecting us to get to that sweet 30. That would be really cool if we could get to 30 trains for 4 seasons, because we passed 100 episodes this season. But I guess we can't have too many good things. Regardless, we got 10 new engines this season, which I believe was the most amount of new engines we had for a season so far. Which means that number can only go up from here. So I'm very much excited for that. So stay tuned for the Season 5 train count, ladies and gents. We're gonna have a gay old time. Class dismissed. Oh wait, there's nobody in here. Crap, I don't think I should legally be in here. Hey gang, welcome to my closet. Can you believe that I've never filmed in here before? Well, I guess I technically have a long time ago, but all this stuff wasn't in there. But anyways, so that was Season 4, and my thoughts, that was really interesting. So this season gave us the biggest change in the show so far, and that was the introduction of the narrow gauge engines, where just about half of the episodes in this season were completely about them. The main characters that we got to know for the first 3 seasons mainly showed up a couple times every 3 episodes. And it wasn't until I believe Thomas and Stephanie where the main characters suddenly came back into the show and started getting stories. But this is also a pretty significant season because while it is still technically part of the classic era of the series, it's still part of the golden age, it does in fact mark the end of things just a little bit. I just realized that the second row of DVDs was crooked. It was very like fucked up. It was very slanted. I didn't like that. This was the last season of the show to feature George Carlin narrating in the US. It was the last season to have its episodes be featured in Shining Time Station, and it was the last season to have episodes directly based off of stories written by the Reverend W. Awdry. So, from here on out, the remaining 20 seasons of the show are all original stories created for the show. Because they weren't just gonna stop making episodes because they ran out of source material. This show was a massive hit in the UK. Shining Time Station was making it popular in America. It was soon going to become a successful property in the US separated from Shining Time Station. So there was no way they were going to stop making episodes. But the real question is, can the show properly work without any stories made by its creator? It's going to have to, because right before season 5 officially airs, something is going to happen in the real world that will permanently affect how the people making the show and the corporations that own the show will create products around it forever. But it is going to be a while before we have to dive into that fully, because tomorrow we are going to be starting the final season of Shining Time Station, which means that for the rest of SteamTember 2025, we are not going to be watching any Thomas episodes. It will be all Shining Time Station all the time, because not only are we doing the entirety of season 3, but we're doing half of the family specials. So if you want to hear me talk about Shining Time Station season 3 for the rest of the month, then please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and ring that bell so that you'll be notified on when all of those videos happen. All 27 of them. But until then, I will see you later. Bye!